Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the mother of David McAtee says she still has questions about what led up to her son's death after he was shot and killed by police in Louisville last week. And the search for a missing Perry County man is expected to continue today after he went under while swimming at Laurel Lake yesterday.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Lacey Roberts, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. Today is Tuesday, which means we've already broken through that Monday. The week has started, so let's hit the ground running. And what's also going to hit the ground running is those temperatures, but it's a little cooler outside right now. And let's take it over to Brandon Robinson to see what we can expect for the rest of the week. Hey, Brandon.
Good morning. You better have your shoes on if you hit the ground running today, because especially this afternoon, it's going to be hot. No barefoot running around today, especially on that pavement. Let's take a look and see what's going on this morning in McKee, and things are fairly quiet down in Jackson County. No fog really to speak of this morning, so that's some good news for us across the region. Temperatures 60s and low 70s. Now again, Monticello I think is the outlier there, showing 78 when you see basically even up to Lexington showing those low 70s this morning. So I'd say upper 60s to low 70s when you factor in how much warmer it is though today than yesterday. It's a significant jump, anywhere from about, let's see here, 7 degrees to about 14 degrees warmer today than it was this time yesterday. So a big jump there, and dew points are up today already in the oppressive category down toward the Kentucky-Tennessee border. 90, the official forecast time today. Didn't get quite to 89 in the Jackson office at the National Weather Service yesterday, but again, it did get to 89 in some places down the Cumberland Valley. So I think we'll be widespread close to 90 today in a lot of areas, so we'll keep you posted on that, and it's going to be a hot and humid day for sure, so take your heat precautions. More on that in just a few minutes. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. And although we are still more than a week and a half away from the first official day of seasonal summer, temperatures are already starting to climb, as you just heard. And as they do, Kentucky State Police are trying to raise awareness about children and hot cars. On an 80-degree day, your car temperature can reach 125 degrees in just 25 minutes.
Even if windows are rolled down, it still poses a threat to younger children.
And heat strokes for children can set in when the body reaches a temperature of 104 degrees or higher. Officials at the Kentucky River Regional Animal Shelter here in Perry County say pets can also be at risk of overheating when stuck in a car for just a few minutes. So remember, you guys, don't forget your pets and those children, and also the elderly, because it is going to be really hot outside. And the search for 22-year-old Tyler Russell, who was originally from Hazard, is expected to continue today on Laurel Lake. Crews say he went under while swimming. This photo was taken of Tyler not long before it happened, and he was last seen wearing these swimming trunks. Officials have been searching since Saturday evening, and today crews are expected to bring in dogs. Family members say they are still holding on to hope that he is alive. And Wolfe County Search and Rescue is looking for a missing man in a lake. They've been at Wolf Lake or Campton Lake off of Mountain Parkway since 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The crew tells us a man was waiting near a cliff and went under. They're trying to find him, and they've called in more agencies to help. A team of divers from Morgan County searched the water, but it's too cold and they had to pull out. They are calling it for a recovery mission. And the mother of David McAtee is vowing to get justice for her son. Outside Yaya's Barbecue Shack in West Louisville, Odessa Riley says she still has questions about what led up to her son's death. He was shot and killed by police just more than 1 week ago. Riley says that she wants to know why there was no ambulance for her son and who pronounced him dead. The family's attorney is calling for every piece of evidence into McAtee's death to be disclosed.
Firstly is providing everything. 2 is acknowledging they have acted improperly in multiple violations and trying to reach out to the family to resolve the civil matter. That's the only thing we can control, all right? In regard to him being prosecuted, Commonwealth Attorney, United States Attorney, Attorney General, they have to make those decisions.
The family's attorney says that videos released by the LMPD were an attempt to steer public opinion against McAtee. Police say the video shows McAtee firing a gun before he was shot and killed. Governor Beshear said yesterday that he would release more information about that investigation today. And the Louisville Metro Council Public Safety Committee is considering a new policy that would change the use of no-knock warrants. Those are under scrutiny after the shooting death of Breonna Taylor. Breonna's law would restrict no-knock warrants and require officers to wear body cameras when serving them. Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher did suspend them weeks ago. LMPD says the no-knock tactic is used when a suspect is known to have a dangerous past. And since the protests began, Governor Beshear said that he is listening, and last night he outlined changes that he wants to push for equality in the state of Kentucky. That includes 100% health care coverage for African Americans in the community and schools using implicit bias training and recruiting more people of color as teachers. And in last night's briefing, the governor said, quote, "Our commitment is to make sure that it's not just different from a public health perspective, but it is truly different from an equality and justice perspective. This is the time when we have the opportunity to make better people, create a better world, and create a better Kentucky." And a controversial monument in the Highlands area of Louisville was removed yesterday. The statue is of John B. Castleman, who was a major in the Confederate Army. Several attempts were made to remove the statue over the past years, and the statue is being taken to a city storage facility for cleaning before being placed at Cave Hill Cemetery, where Castleman is buried. And President Trump held a roundtable with members of law enforcement yesterday. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron sat next to the president during the discussion. Cameron says the group focused on strengthening the relationship between law enforcement and black communities. He called it a step towards positive change. President Trump also addressed some Democrats called to defund the police.
We won't be dismantling our police. We won't be disbanding our police. We won't be ending our police force in a city.
One sheriff at yesterday's roundtable suggested mandatory de-escalation training for all officers, as well as having officers step in if force is being applied improperly. And back here in Kentucky, around this time last year, we learned that Canadian-based company Dashcore Aluminum planned to invest nearly $20 million in a new facility right here in Perry County. Since then, the plant is up and running and just received their first shipment in order to push out their first shipment out of the state of Kentucky. I talked with officials at the plant about why this is important for moving forward. Just a 12-mile drive from Hazard, you will find Dashcore Aluminum here in Chavies. Holding their groundbreaking in November of 2019, Dashcore expected to be up and running in no time.
They've been waiting. We were supposed to be up and running back in January, February, so we kept the hiring process even though we didn't have work.
Since the announcement of Dashcore coming to Eastern Kentucky, it also came with 200 jobs. Since then, only 26 people have been employed, and many are wondering when those other positions will become available. Speaking with VP Steve Everett, he says those 200 jobs were promised over a 5-year hiring contract. But remember, no thanks to COVID-19, it didn't help speed up that process or manufacturing on their end.
We're not shutting down the manufacturing in Canada. We're creating new customers. As they bring them in, we add the equipment and we hire.
With an 80% customer base in Canada, Everett says the goal is to bring nearly half of that to Kentucky.
Wherever you see aluminum,
Receiving their first shipment, a milestone to moving forward.
they could go elsewhere instead of Dashcore. So the first shipment really tied us in with the company.
Bringing jobs to not just Perry County, but all of Eastern Kentucky.
To open up new customers, grow our business in Kentucky and basically within a 500-mile radius.
Utilizing a unique workforce from the mountains. In Chavies, Lacey Roberts, WYMT Mountain News. Now, Everett says that since they have begun shipping from out of Perry County, they now can ship every month and hope to be making the plant's own aluminum in the coming weeks to make those products for those companies. And the city of Somerset buried a 2020 time capsule yesterday in front of Rocky Hollow Recreation Center. It includes 37 bags full of personal notes, championship t-shirts, masks, and empty bottles of hand sanitizer. City officials said they decided to bury the time capsule as a dedication to the high school seniors who could not finish their senior year due to COVID-19. However, the Somerset City Roller Derby team included a poster of their canceled season as a memento for others to look back on in 20 years.
And we created a poster of like what this season could have been, and it had the dates of our bouts and the people we were going against and all the things that it should have been and can be next year, to look back whenever we dig this up and say, oh, it's there somewhere. Not really in person, but on paper.
The city has a record of the time capsule on file and will soon put a plaque where it was buried. So for now, we will have to wait 20 years to see how much or how little things have changed. And thousands of protesters took to the streets of Philadelphia on Saturday, but two stood out, a bride and a groom. We'll tell you about that.
Well, we're tracking the possibility for some stronger storms tomorrow with a cold front, but hazy, hot, humid conditions continue today. We'll talk about it in about 3 minutes.